off in about 2 minutes' time. So can you grab that last cuppa, finish that conversation and make your way to your seats? That would be great. Thank you.
All good. Lovely slideshow. Excellent. Yeah, I know you added the Wednesday gospel. All good.
You got that cuppa? Great. That's good. My name is Lydia Smith. I'm going to be your MC for today. I'll be welcoming you a little bit later, but first of all, we're going to begin our morning's program by hearing from our local Orange President, Elizabeth Griffin, and she'll bring us an acknowledgement to country as well. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Lydia. Well, actually, first up, I will say welcome everybody. We do the acknowledgement of country. I'm not Aboriginal, so I can't give you all welcome. I had a look at a lot of the written words that were out there, and to be honest with you, something in me didn't agree with them. So I put together my own acknowledgement of country, and I hope you'll understand, tolerate and appreciate it. We acknowledge that we're in the ancient land of the Wiradjuri people. We respect all people, regardless of nationality, culture, age or religion. That we may live, walk and work together in peace and harmony as equals in this great country we all call home. And now my welcome. No, I'm not having a stroke or using any bad language on you. That's Wiradjuri for welcome. But please excuse my lack of a native accent. Thank you to the brave adventurers for crossing the sandstone curtain as our early explorers did and discovered a wonderful lands and diversity away from the coast and our beautiful western slopes and plains. We're glad that you all arrived safely and sincerely hope that you enjoy your time with us and that you take away happy memories, learn new things and other ways of doing things while sharing some of your own experiences. It's really, truly wonderful to have the opportunity to meet old friends, and I don't mean anybody's age, and to make new friends through our U3A family. Thank you.
Well, it's a real pleasure to have you here in Orange in what I believe is the most beautiful season of all. Locally, our autumn is just stunning. I know a couple of you have felt the orange briskness already this morning, but we should warm up very nicely over the course of the day. It's so good to have you here, friends, colleagues, fellow lifelong learners from across New South Wales. And we come together today to celebrate what makes U3A so special, a vibrant community of people who are curious, connected and committed to learning at every stage of life. Now, when I first moved to Orange, U3A was one of the first organisations that I joined, and I can honestly say it made all the difference. It gave me not only the opportunity to keep learning and teaching, but also a sense of belonging and some wonderful friendships. That personal experience deepened my appreciation for what U3A offers to so many people, especially those stepping into a new phase of life or stepping into a new community. So we've got a fantastic program ahead full of ideas, conversations, connections, and I look forward to sharing it with you. We hope that you'll leave Orange feeling encouraged and equipped and inspired to develop and extend your own U3A groups in your own contexts. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping as we get underway. You'll already know that access to our hall is either via the central stairs or via the lift at the rear of the building. You all managed to get here, which was great. You'll find the toilets out the back of the hall and out to the right. If the presentations get a little too exciting, the defibrillator is also out in the foyer area. If there is an unlikely event of an emergency, then we do not use the lifts. We'll go down the stairs and we'll rely on each other to help those with mobility issues. And when we reach downstairs, the club organisers will tell us what to do next. Your name tag, well, your colour, if you haven't already figured it out, indicates your region. So mix those colours up. Mix them up at the tables. Feel free to move around and make new friends and connections. The number on the back is your lucky door prize number. I even got one. I don't think I should win though. That would not look good. So do check that out. That will be drawn tonight at the dinner. Now, also, I'm hoping that you've managed to find the media permission forms. If you want to opt out of being part of the U3A media taping and Zoom calls, then do fill out the form that has U3A on it. If you don't mind, then you don't need to fill that out. But I understand there is another media permission form that you may need to fill out as well. So please do those. Morning tea, I'll be here to fill you in on arrangements a little bit later. And if you've got any other questions, ask someone in a blue jacket, because it'll probably be above my pay grade anyway. You will notice that we have some wonderful community stalls here. Please do go and visit them. We'll be highlighting them a few of them a little bit later, but we've got some fabulous people here. You can mine for information and ideas. So please do visit those. Now, in case you haven't realised it yet, our federal election is only a few weeks away. That makes it all the more remarkable that our very busy local federal member, Mr. Andrew G, has taken the time and trouble to be with us today. He's our long-time Aussie Orange resident. He's been our federal member since 2016 and our state member for 5 years before that. But most importantly, he took our first prize in the scone baking competition that no one showed. And this will really rock you backwards. He has also won the Mumble Black Wattle Fair's Chuckakubra contest. Twice. You can't get much more country than that. Would you please join me in welcoming Mr. Andrew G.
Well, that was quite an introduction. Thank you very much. And welcome everyone to this wonderful conference. From wherever you are from, I extend our warmest welcome to you, to all of the U3A team here from Orange, including Elizabeth and Michelle and Bev and everyone who's worked so hard to bring us this conference today. I just wanted to give you a special thank you and shout out for your really hard work. Some of you have come from, wow, all over the state. There was one gentleman here from the Northern Rivers up in Richmond, and he's just arrived in time for the very first orange frost of the season, which happened this morning. So we put out a typical orange welcome to you all. But it's terrific to see you all here, and I would just like to pay tribute to the work of U3A and the work that you do right around this region, but in all parts of our great state and country. I'm privileged to have quite a lot to do with U3A in my position as the local federal member, and I've seen firsthand how important this organisation is to our communities. And in fact, we've got Stuart Pearson here, who is from U3A in Bathurst. He's been organising Meet the Candidates forums in Bathurst. And it was only a couple of weeks ago that I met his current affairs group, one of many, many groups. And I think it speaks to the success of U3A as to how strong the membership is. You've got about almost 300 members right here in Orange. I mean, that is extraordinary at a time when many community groups and service clubs are struggling for numbers. To have that many people in our home branch here is quite incredible. Stuart, how many have you got down there in Bathurst all up?
Over 400.
400. Can you believe that?
It's not a competition though.
It is not a competition. But I think it shows you the vibrancy of the U3A organisation. And as we've heard, you are never, ever too old to learn something and continue to grow. And I myself have been learning how to make scones over the last 3 years. And I have to say, I had a very rough start. The first scone competition I went in, I entered at the Rydal show, and the CWA judges there, I think it's fair to say, were very harsh and very frank in their judgment. But I took on the learnings of many more senior scone makers than me. And yes, I feel now part of that scone community that competes in shows right around the region. But I just also wanted to thank U3A for the role you play in bringing people together. In this modern age of ours, where, especially for younger generations, social connectivity can be quite difficult. I sometimes think that our young people are more inclined to send a text now than pick up the phone and talk to someone. And I think in some ways we're losing that personal connectivity. And U3A is the exact opposite of that. U3A brings people together. And I think that's a really important role that U3A plays in our communities, that social connectivity, that being a part of something, keeping active minds and active bodies. I think it's really very important. And so U3A plays a vitally important role in not only our local communities, but in the work that you do in our communities. You play a vitally important role for our country by bringing people together. And if you want a strong country, you have to have a strong community. And U3A is very much about building and keeping strong communities. So to all of the organisers of today, Elizabeth, to you and your team, thank you so much. I know it's been a lot of work. And to all of the community services who are here today, thank you for coming along and supporting it as well. It's wonderful to see you all here. And folks, could you give Elizabeth and the folks here at U3A Orange a big round of applause. Thank you. And just to show that we've got people here of all ages, I spoke earlier to Mr. Ron Mills, who's sitting up the back there. Ron is 95 years old, right? Can anyone top 95? Ron is the most senior U3A member here. Give him a round of applause, folks. Just celebrating his 95th birthday. So, folks, from wherever you... Ron.
Andrew, 95 young.
95 years young. From wherever you have come from today, we extend our warmest welcome to you here in Orange. And we're delighted that U3A is hosting this forum here today. And I hope that it's a really productive day and that you really enjoy your time here. So thank you, folks, and it's terrific to see you. Thank you.
My goodness, he's tall. Thank you so much for taking the time out of what is obviously a really busy season. Now, my next job is to introduce our state member. Now, Phil Donato, who's been a long-serving police officer, a police prosecutor, and state member for Orange for nearly a decade. On top of that, he's a dad of 5, all boys. So you can imagine what their house is like. as the boys were growing up. If that hasn't taught him how to organise people, I don't know what would. He, like his federal counterpart, he displays a warm commitment to our region and to its people. So can we please welcome Mr. Phil Donato.
Well, thank you very much, Lydia, for that introduction. You're right. My wife and I have got 5 boys. Couldn't do girls for some reason, but the boys were a handful growing up, and my wife always says it was like living in a locker room with a footy team at home. So the smells, the sounds, the swearing, all those things that boys have. But thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I'd like to acknowledge Andrew G, our federal member. He's busy coming into a federal election only a few weeks away. It's great that you're here to be able to speak as well. Look, I won't talk too long. My role as a local member has seen me be involved in lots and lots of groups right across my community. It's great to be able to welcome U3A here to Orange for their annual conference, and it's great to see so many people here from right across not only the Central West but New South Wales as well. And as Andrew touched on, U3A plays a really important role in our community, and they're offering that level of connection, education, but also that level of companionship, which is really, really important as we get older, to stay connected and have engaging conversations. I see Keith over there who has been riding his bike. He and I, only the other day, I was running along a new track that's just been built here in Orange, going for one of my jogs around town. And I saw a gentleman riding a tri-shore bike along a newly designated footpath, cycle path walkway, just on Ploughman's Lane there in Orange. And I thought to myself, I didn't know Keith then. I only just met you this morning. And I thought, look at this guy. He must be, I don't know how old, a senior gentleman riding a push bike along the road there. He turned around, not the road, the pathway I should say. He rode around. I said, g'day. As I run past people, I always just say, g'day mate, or something like that. And then he turned around and came back, and then turned around again and rode past me again. And I gave him the thumbs up. And I thought, what an inspiration to see. You don't often see people, Keith, of your age riding push bikes on the road, and I just thought, isn't it great to see people in their senior years remaining physically active? Because that's really important as well. And we met this morning, and Keith goes, I'm the guy who rides past you while you're going for a jog. And I thought, oh, that's fantastic. I was so inspired by seeing you doing that. But that, I think, speaks volumes about that we need to stay not only physically healthy, but mentally active and healthy as well. And it's so important that U3A offers the level of courses. Can be, maybe Andrew might take up a teaching making scones course to U3A. He's quite an expert, I hear. But a whole range of different courses that people can participate in. David was just telling me earlier that it can be worked out, you can do as many courses as you want, and can work out to be very affordable. And knowledge really doesn't go away as you get older. I think it's really important to keep not only your body physically active, but your brain mentally active as well. And I think that's one of the great things that U3A offers. So I often see U3A members at Parliament House. Who's been to Parliament House for question time? Yeah, a few of you. I often see Greg Piper, who's the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly and the member for Lake Macquarie, often has many U3A groups of his electorate come to Parliament and watch question time. And I often hear him welcome the U3A members to parliamentary question time. I think that's a wonderful way to see and observe democracy in action, although the Bear Pit's probably not a great example of that. But look, welcome again. We do live in a beautiful part of the world. For those of you who are visiting, there's so much to see and do while you're here in Orange. You've come at, as Lydia said, you've come at a wonderful time of year. Autumn is really a beautiful time of year here, the changing colours, the real seasons that you really observe here in the Central West. There's a slideshow going on up there that shows all the highlights and features and places to go and see and visit. So if you are visiting from out of town, and this may be your first time in Orange, I don't know, but get out, if you get the opportunity, go out and support our local businesses, our local communities. There's so much to see and do. You'll really have a tremendous time here in Orange. Elizabeth, to you and your team for putting this on, the Orange branch, congratulations. I know this has been a lot of organising to put this event on here in Orange this year, so congratulations to you and your team for hosting what is going to be a successful conference, no doubt, just seeing by the numbers of people here and talking and meeting some of you before. The level of engagement, I think, will be really, really important and really positive. And also the community groups that are here as well. Thank you for coming along and help supporting this event. I think it's really important that you fly the flag for these types of events, provide that information to U3A members of what's available in our local community. So welcome again. Enjoy your time here in Orange. You've got a jam-packed couple of days coming up, and I look forward to meeting some of you a bit later during morning tea. But thank you for coming to Orange. Thank you to Elizabeth and Lydia for hosting this event here, and enjoy the conference. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And look, I also bring apologies to our Lord Mayor, who had been hoping to be here, but if you'll notice in your conference handbook, he has written us a very warm letter of welcome, so do take the time to read that as well. Now we're going to, before we have morning tea, we're going to venture into something a little bit more experimental. That will give our special guests a chance to perhaps to leave if they need to rush to the next important event. But also it'll give us a chance to have a little bit of a think about the types of things that U3A does. My background has been in teaching and as a children's librarian. Way back in the day, the age of the dinosaurs possibly, I taught critical thinking skills. And your skill in teaching, or whatever your skill is, does not retire with you. And I've been very fortunate to be able to run a course at Orange U3A that utilises those skills. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a taster of what we do in our Grey Matters course. Some of my Grey Matters bods are here this morning, so no spoilers from you. I'm going to ask you a question, and your job in your table groups is to swap your opinions. Now there's no right or wrong answer to this, but when we come back and talk about it, you'll see that how you answer has a very interesting insight into what you believe. So here's your question. The question is, are human beings by nature essentially good or essentially bad by nature? Would you like to have a chat about that in your table groups for a while? Remember, no right or wrong answer, but I may ask you to answer the accompanying question, which is, what evidence do you have for your answer? Have a chat. Okay, let's come back together. And is anyone brave enough? Well, let's take a straw poll first. Try to put your hand up if you think that people are by nature essentially good. Oh my, okay, great. That's it. And by nature essentially bad. How interesting. Now, if I had asked that question, say 250 years ago, the proportion of answers would be around the other way.
Yeah.
Because our cultural worldview has shifted. So what we do at Grey Matters is help people to be aware of their own worldview and how it is affected by our cultural worldview. So if I were to quote a philosopher and thinker from, say, 300 years ago, someone like Thomas Hobbes, he would have said that the life of man is nasty, brutish and short, and that institutions such as government, policing, the law, is there to restrain the naturally evil impulses of human beings. That's what institutions are there for, because human beings are by nature corrupt. If we skip about 100 years into the future and come to the 18th century, we meet a Frenchman called Jean-Jacques Rousseau, whose view is diametrically opposite. People are by nature good, they are born good, and it is institutions that do the corrupting. So institutions such as schools, governments, laws, they actually take what are originally good people and twist them into corrupt people. Now, you can see by that which philosopher has won in the historical race to be the dominant worldview voice in our culture. Our culture is very much based on Rousseau's ideas, for the most part. Doesn't mean that everybody in our culture believes the same things, obviously not. But generally, our cultural worldview wants to persuade us, every worldview wants to persuade you, that people are by nature good. And you can see that play out in practical ways in our education system, for example, where now children are not seen as empty vessels to be filled, but already full vessels to be drawn out. And that changes things like curriculum. It changes things like how our teachers teach. It changes all sorts of things. So our worldviews have very practical outcomes. So what is a worldview? At Grey Matters, I like to try and say that a worldview is like a pair of thinking glasses. So I wear my glasses through which I see the world, and if I take them off, which I'm not going to do because I look completely different without them, if I took my glasses off, suddenly everything is chaotic and I can't quite make out who's sitting where, I don't quite know where I am, everything's very confusing. If I put them back on again, suddenly the world makes sense again. And that's what our worldviews do for us. They help us make sense of the world. Everyone has a worldview. Now, if I were to take my glasses off and swap my glasses with David, we would both be in a bit of a pickle. Because my prescription, I wouldn't imagine, is not yours, David, and his is not mine. But what is a really interesting exercise is to try and see the world through somebody else's thinking glasses. So at Grey Matters, we look at the range of cultural worldviews. We look at what different worldviews interpret over the years, and we try and understand other people. We live in a culture that wants to polarize us. If you haven't noticed that, recently, then perhaps you need to take a bit more notice. Our culture wants us to believe that everyone who doesn't agree with us is either evil or stupid. But the fact of the matter is we have different worldviews, and that often explains why we think differently. Our culture does not encourage us to reflect, our culture encourages us to react. So at Grey Matters, we spend the year looking at how we think, how other people think, how different cultures think, and what we can learn about how we see the world. So I hope that's given you a little bit of a taste of what we might do in U3A. We're teaching people thinking skills. No matter what course you're running, you're teaching people to think. You're growing them. And that's a fabulous thing to be doing. And I've certainly found through teaching Grey Matters that my thinking skills have got sharpened up, particularly when you've got someone like Keith in the class who asks all the awkward questions. And sometimes you say, oh, I'm sorry I asked those terrible, and it's great. That keeps everyone on their toes. Now, we're going to get prepared for morning tea in just a little while. We're going to have a brief break before then so you can catch up with the people at your table. But I'll just give you a little bit of housekeeping about morning tea. So one of our cherished values at U3A is lifelong learning, but equally cherished, though rather less publicly acknowledged, is the value of lifelong snacking. So that's what we'll be concentrating on morning tea, because a well-fed brain is a well-functioning brain, let's face it. So when we go to morning tea, and that will be ready shortly, we'll go out and to the left, out here, where it will be set up for us. There's a tea and coffee station on permanent simmer up the back as well, so don't feel you need to wait for morning tea to have a cup of. Do take advantage of the lovely courtyard that we have here. The autumn sun in orange is just glorious, so please enjoy that. But do be aware, there's a step down into the grass section, the astroturfed section of the courtyard. There is a ramp up this end of that little stage area, so please take advantage of that if you need to. Now, we're going to meet back around about 10:45 for an update on what's new in U3A. But I'm thinking we've got a little bit of time up our sleeves, so we can spend some time getting to. Can you please choose someone at your table that you haven't met yet, or travel to another table, see someone who's got a different coloured name tag to you, introduce yourself and have a bit of a chat, and we'll let you know when morning tea is ready. Thank you.